This work remains unfinished. Too many still pay soaring rents, only to live with kitchens full of cockroaches and bathroom pipes that leak and rust. No longer will landlords be allowed to slap a new coat of paint over a wall of black mold and pretend that the issue is fixed. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure to be here at the Tenement Museum alongside tenants, advocates, and partners in government to announce the release of New York City's first ever Rental Ripoff Report. I want to thank Annie and the Tenement Museum for welcoming us today. Thank you for the work that you do to highlight the history of tenant organizing in our city and the importance of it and the long-lasting impacts of it. It is a pleasure to be joined by leaders from across my administration, including Deputy Mayor Leila Bozarg, Sia Weaver, Director of the Mayor's Office to Protect Tenants, HPD Commissioner Dina Levy, and DOB Commissioner Ahmed Tagani. We also have staff from HPD, DOB, DCWP, and the Office to Protect Tenants who helped make the rental ripoff hearings a reality. And I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the leaders that we have here from tenant organizations across our city. Let's have a round of applause for those who've been on the front lines. December of 1907 was not a happy time to be a tenant in New York City. 2 out of every 3 New Yorkers were living in crammed tenement housing, like those brought to life here at the Tenement Museum. It was brutally cold. Nearly 100,000 New Yorkers had just lost their jobs in an economic crisis. And in response, many landlords had decided to raise the rent by 33%. What New Yorkers needed in 1907 was a city government that worked for them, one that prioritized their struggles, one that took material action to hold bad landlords accountable. They did not have such leadership in City Hall. But in its absence, New Yorkers did what New Yorkers do best. They organized. More than 10,000 families came together to protest these conditions, one of the largest tenant movements in our city's history. That movement ushered in a century of tenant organizing and of progress. Today, New York City is home to the strongest tenant protections anywhere in the United States of America. And yet we know this work remains unfinished. Too many still pay soaring rents, only to live with kitchens full of cockroaches and bathroom pipes that leak and rust. Yet today, New Yorkers have a city government that is quite different from the one in 1907. Throughout our first 4 months in office, City Hall held New York City's first ever rental ripoff hearings, attended by more than 2,300 New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs. Forums where tenants could share their struggles and ideas directly with those who have the power to deliver change. I spoke with New Yorkers who told me about vents filled with mold, nights spent shivering in the dead of winter, elevators that sat out of order for months on end, and landlords who, amidst all of this, refused to do anything about it. These New Yorkers did not share these stories only for them to be promptly forgotten. They shared them so they would serve as the foundation of the policies City Hall would pursue, the change we would deliver. Today, City Hall delivers on that promise. This Rental Ripoff Report, also known as RRR, not to be confused with the 2022 Tollywood smash hit, is based on thousands of testimonies shared at rental ripoff hearings across our 5 boroughs. It outlines the actions our administration will take to improve the lives of tenants who call this city home. These actions fall under 4 major categories. First, we will improve housing quality by strengthening our enforcement of common housing code violations and complaints. For the first time ever, inspectors will investigate every single heat complaint the city receives. Also, for the first time ever, if HPD inspectors come at a time when you're not available, you will be able to reschedule a visit at a time that works for you. New Yorkers have been able to schedule food deliveries and the time they pick up their clothes at the dry cleaner for years. They should be able to do the same when it comes to an inspection of their home. We will also tackle pests, eradicate mold, and fix broken elevators. 3 of the largest concerns voiced by New Yorkers during the rental ripoff hearings. We will address the underlying causes of mold for the first time. No longer will landlords be allowed to slap a new coat of paint over a wall of black mold and pretend that the issue is fixed. And we will keep New Yorkers safe by confronting the causes and devastating consequences of residential fires. Second, we will continue to hold bad landlords accountable. We will take on the worst landlords in the city with our Fix the City campaign. And we will reform our systems for cataloging building registrations and penalties. Right now, everything is still done on paper. That not only slows things down, it makes it harder to hold those who violate the law accountable. Digitizing this process will not only help us crack down on repeat violators, it will also allow us to support the many landlords who operate with integrity. Third, we will empower tenants across New York City. The best protected tenant is an organized tenant. That is why we will legally recognize tenant unions, protecting New Yorkers from harassment or threat of eviction for seeking solidarity with their neighbors. And we will partner with organized tenants across the city to deliver the accountability they deserve from their landlords, and in certain cases, to support the successful transfer of their buildings to more responsible owners. Fourth, we will make the housing market fairer and more transparent. This includes requiring the disclosure of AI or digitally altered images and video on misleading rental listings that waste New Yorkers' time and money. You shouldn't have to worry whether or not the apartment you are viewing online is real. After all, it's called Street Easy, not Street Hard. All of these actions and improvements come as a direct result of every tenant who attended a rental ripoff hearing. Every tenant who chose to speak up. Every tenant who refused to tolerate another year of negligence and disrepair. Every tenant who demanded more from their city government. This work is just beginning. We will build on the success of the rental ripoff hearings as we hold 5 NYCHA in your neighborhood events, 1 in each borough, beginning this September. These 2 are forums where NYCHA tenants' ideas and concerns will be translated into material change across public housing. In the words of Mayor John Lindsay, cities are for people and for living. Every New Yorker deserves to live a dignified life in a dignified home in the city they love. That is a responsibility that government can, must, and will. Just before we start any questions, I do want to talk about the air quality. As New Yorkers can see, and in some neighborhoods, as New Yorkers can smell, smoke from the Canadian wildfires is over our city. What the experts say is that today is expected to be the worst day of this event. The state has forecast air quality in the unhealthy range for the New York City region, and I want to be clear about what that word means in this instance. At unhealthy levels, everyone, not just people with asthma and heart conditions, not just older adults, everyone may feel health effects. So today, every New Yorker should take precautions. Limit your time outdoors, especially strenuous activity. We have made free KN95 masks available at hundreds of locations citywide, including libraries, police precincts, and a number of firehouses. Go to on.nyc.gov/free mask, and you'll find a map of where to pick one up, or call 311. You can also text Notify NYC to 692-692 so we can reach you if conditions change, and do try and check on your neighbors through it all. We will keep you updated through the day. These are conditions that we know are also coming at the same time as a heat emergency for New Yorkers. So it is very important to stay up to date, to stay prepared, and to respond with your safety as the most important thing, because that is what it is for city government as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll start with on-topic questions about the report, and we have our C. Weaver as well as the Deputy Mayor to answer questions as well. We're going to start with Ben Miller from The Real Deal, and if you could just wait for the microphone.
Thanks so much. Hi, Mr. Mayor.
How's it going, Ben?
Going good. I wanted to ask a little bit about the phases in which the reports, findings, and results are going to roll out. There was a good legend in it that said, some of these are administrative, some of these are legal, some of these are going to require city council buy-in. What's the method from MOPT to get buy-in from the city council on the myriad things that you're hoping to get done with this? And when does that process start? Has it already started before the report was released? Is this bringing them in situation? How does that work?
So one thing we are fortunate to have in this city is that there is a broad coalition that understands the urgency of this work and the necessity of it. And so when we are speaking to our partners, whether it be those who serve in the city council or beyond that, about the importance of tackling the root causes of mold, of ensuring that we are finally bringing the kinds of tenant protections that this city should have brought years ago, we are also oftentimes speaking to an audience that knows exactly what that means. I mean, you heard it just now that from our DOB commissioner, it's not as if he had to sit there and listen to understand that these were issues. He grew up facing a lot of these issues himself, and I think the same is true for many others. So I know that we've already started conversations with city council members around the aspects of this report that require legislative action. What I will also say is there are other aspects of this report that can begin immediately, and we are going to look to take as fast of an approach as we can with every single recommendation that is here. I'm going to pass it over to our executive director of the Mayor's Office to Protect Tenants to add any additional details.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. So we've begun productive conversations with Councilmember Sanchez, who is, of course, the chair of the Housing and Buildings Committee. She's very excited to work with us on this, and I'm grateful for her partnership and her leadership, and we expect that we'll be able to start meeting soon with the council to be able to get some of these things drafted and then move through the legislative process.
Just one quick question.
Sure. Sorry, just wait for the microphone.
Is additional headcount for DOB or HPD inspectors something that was already a part of budget negotiations this previous cycle, or is that something that's built in? Like, is the money there to increase headcount for what you need to do after this report?
Yes.
Thank you, Ben. Other questions about the report? Any other housing questions before we move to off topic? All right, thank you to all of our speakers. We're going to start with Andrew Stiff from NBC.
Thank you very much, Dora.
Sorry, Andrew, 1 second, microphone.
I have two questions. One's about the air quality, and then one's about the World Cup.
Please.
On the air quality, picking up on what you just said, how concerned are you that this is becoming sort of the new normal, and do we need to move to some kind of stronger response than N95s are available at libraries and firehouses? How concerned are you that this becomes a much more emergent situation?
I'll be honest with you, whether we're speaking about the heat, whether we're speaking about the air quality, or whether we're even speaking about the levels of rainwater and flooding in our city, I am concerned. And I'm concerned because what we see is that the climate crisis exacerbates so much of what our city is facing. And what we want to do is take every single short-term measure that we can, but as you also say, looking to medium and long-term measures to ensure that we can continue to provide safety to New Yorkers even amidst these kinds of challenging conditions. One thing that I would underline is in our city, we pride ourselves on being resilient. Today is not a day to say, in spite of the air quality, I'm going to do everything I was going to do yesterday. This is very serious. We are reaching into a level of air quality that is dangerous for every single New Yorker. And so, yes, it is masks, but also it is to stay indoors, whereas otherwise you might have been outdoors. If you were thinking that today would be the day that you would finally take that run, let it be tomorrow. This is a day where this is a serious impact, and it's coming alongside temperatures in the mid 90 degrees, which also is something that needs to be treated with seriousness, given that we know that our city loses about 500 New Yorkers a year to the effects of heat.
On the World Cup, Spain versus Argentina, who are you rooting for and why?
Man, everyone I root for has lost. So I feel like whoever I say is going to lose at this point. What I will say is it's been an incredible World Cup. And as someone who likes to think of myself as technologically fluent and able to spot AI versus a real image, I thought that the image of Lionel Messi and Lamine Yamal was AI. I don't know if you've seen this image, but Lamine Yamal was picked out of a number of different children for a photo to be bathed by Lionel Messi when he was a child. There's a photo of Lionel Messi and Lamine Yamal as a baby being bathed in a bathtub, and now those two are going to face off this Sunday. in New York City and New Jersey, and it's pretty incredible. So I'm excited. I'm going to say the classic politician answer. Excited for a good game.
All right, thank you, Andrew. We're going to go to Kelly Mena from New York 1.
Hello, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, Kelly, how's it going?
Good. It's sort of an on and off topic question. I wanted to get an update on the building that had the 2 columns that almost collapsed. If the DOB commissioner is still here.
It's always right behind the curtain.
Oh, okay, amazing. And then I kind of had related sort of to the rental ripoff, many smaller landlords are having issues keeping up with their buildings. You have proposed some ideas to help them with that. I wonder, where are those proposals at as of today? Because I know that there are good landlords in the city and they want to do well. So yes, those are my 2 questions.
There are many good landlords, and in fact, my former landlord was one of them before I moved into where I currently live at Gracie Mansion. I knew their name first as an LLC, and then I met them after I became the mayor. They came up to me on the street. They said, I was like, oh, it's great to meet you. So one of the things that we have heard from landlords, especially landlords of affordable housing, is that the skyrocketing cost of insurance has been a real burden for them to be able to keep up with. I think we've seen estimates that go beyond even 100% increase for the cost of insurance. And so I really want to credit our deputy mayor for housing and planning for spearheading the creation of a first-of-its-kind city-backed insurance fund that will invest $100 million over 3 years to provide landlords with a far more affordable option to insurance costs that then make it much easier for them to maintain their buildings and actually move forward on the maintenance of these buildings and being stewards of these buildings. And this comes back to the fact that when we talk about an affordability agenda, we're not picking and choosing as to who it's for. We're looking to address costs for every New Yorker, and that also includes insurance costs for landlords. I'm going to pass it over to Deputy Mayor Bozarg to add details on the updates to the Pfizer building, as well as if there's anything you want to say.
Yeah, I'll just add, in addition to the city-backed insurance program, the housing plan that we released block by block does have a series of other initiatives that are really aimed at helping to bring the operating costs for buildings down, initiatives like tools, and happy to share more details on that. But a lot of it is in the housing plan. On the Pfizer building, we are working, and DOB and the contractors are working to finalize and complete the enclosure and the netting that is necessary to protect the northern side of the building as work continues and is underway. We are working with them to monitor that enclosure. Once that is done, DOB inspectors will go back and inspect that work, make sure it complied with the designs and plans for that enclosure, and that's when we will then reassess whether it's safe enough to reopen the street and lift the vacates on surrounding buildings.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. All right, we're going to go to Janaki from Politico, and then Timmy Faciola.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, Janky, how's it going?
Good. So I have 2 questions. The first, I want to know, are you willing to veto council legislation that's expected to come up for a vote today that would give public school teaching assistants one-time lump sum payments? I know you've expressed concerns about that bill. And then my second question on air quality. You recently signed an executive order protecting workers amidst extreme heat. Do you think those same workers should have protections when the air is unhealthy?
So we believe that workers should have protections at all times. And we have sent out guidance across the city for the actions that employers as well as city agencies should be taking at this time, because again, we're talking about an air quality index that is now into the unhealthy for everyone. And we know that there are some New Yorkers who have the luxury of making a choice as to where they want to spend their time. There are others for whom their work site is outside. And so we are making sure that that is something that is being clearly communicated across city agencies, across our city as well. To your first question, I want to first just underline the importance of paraprofessionals in our city and our education system. The work that they do is critical. I've also said that I believe that this is a matter that is best treated at the bargaining table, and we will see what the city council does, but those are my thoughts on the matter.
Thank you. We're going to go to Timmy Faciola from the Judge Street Journal, and then Haley from the Post.
How you doing, Mayor?
How's it going?
Good. I got
Quite the color combo.
Thank you. Thank you. Got a campaign question. I
Okay.
know you made it clear you're only going to weigh into the city races that you've already gotten involved in, but I have one about New York 17 and your old friend from the New York Assembly, Mike Lawler. You know him pretty well, perhaps better than a lot of Democratic operatives. I'm curious, what do you think is the key for Democrats to winning that race this cycle?
I think that Mike Lawler's record speaks for itself, and I think the more focus there is on that record, the easier the choice it is for voters in that district.
What kind
Thank-
of poker player was he?
He was all right.
Thank you, Toby. We'll go to Haley.
Okay, two questions. One of them is about soccer, but we'll
Great.
start with the other one. So, what's the city doing?
You're just luring me into.
What's the city doing about the homeless encampment on Manhattan's west side? There's been no removals for 2.5 weeks. So, what's going on there?
Yeah, so I want to be very clear. This site has been noticed and it will be cleared. And as with any site, once we notice, there is 7 days until the point of clearing. Each of those 7 days is characterized by outreach from city workers looking to connect those who are present with services, whether it be services at a shelter, medical services, or supportive services beyond that.
Which day will be the 7th day?
We can get back to you on that.
Okay. But you don't know it's a 13-block homeless encampment?
I don't know which day is the 7th day.
Okay. And then soccer question. So we thought you were holding a pickup soccer game, but now you're saying the air quality and heat is too bad. Don't go outside. Don't stress yourself. So is that a bad example?
Oh, a pickup soccer game? Oh,
Are
this
you still
evening?
holding
That's
that?
going to be indoors. Not the game is not going to be played indoors, but we'll just be gathering.
Oh, so there's not a pickup soccer game.
We're going to be having people indoors at Gracie Mansion to celebrate the end of this event.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take one more question from Josie at the Daily News.
Hi, Mayor. How are
Hey,
you?
how's it going, Josie?
Good. So, City and State reported, I believe, this morning that you're not going to be participating in the matching funds program. I'm wondering, are you likewise going to reject super PAC support? I know you've spoken negatively about super PACs, though you did accept support from them in this past election. So, would you do that in 2029?
I'll be honest with you, the only decisions I've made when it comes to 2029 has been the ones that we have to declare with the Campaign Finance Board at this early stage. One of those, as you said, is whether or not to participate in the Matching Funds Program. The Matching Funds Program was critical in my race to becoming the mayor of our city. What we also saw in that same race was the amount of money that was spent in opposition to our campaign far dwarfed what we were able to raise and spend through the program. And so this is a decision we've made to look to narrow the gap between the resources that we would be able to raise and spend and those that we know will be marshaled in opposition.
So, you don't think you'll have rich people on your side in 2029?
I don't know who I'll have on my side in 2029. I just hope that the work that we do between now and then speaks for itself.
And then
you.
I had a second question. If the city council passes this pay raise bill, I know you've said you won't accept.
I will not accept a pay raise.
Can you just elaborate on why?
I haven't knocked on anyone's door in New York City, and they've said their concern is that the mayor makes too little. So,
Thank you, everyone.
That's not my concern either.
Thank you.
Like, it won't be mine. If it was mine, then that would mean I would be accepted. Yeah.
Where would you want to see that money go? It's not going to your pocket.
I think to go to the pockets of those who are struggling in this city.